Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Wow, welcome to me again. So welcome back to my channel. My channel is about the English lesson, right? So don't forget, you should watching my video before. There are so many video about the English teaching and special the strategy, methodology, and current teaching and some more. Yes, maybe the little is about traveling. Okay, so welcome back to me again. In this video, in special, this is about the communicative language teaching. So the communicative language teaching, check it out. Okay, my name is Hidayati. So in the next video, there are the table of content in this video. Number 1 is about the introduction, and then the kind of the classroom activity, and number 3 is about the goal of communicative language teaching, and the next is how to learn and how learn to learners, and then the role of teacher and learning in the classroom. So the last is the classroom activity in the communicative language teaching. As number 1 is introduction. Yes, the communicative language teaching, and this communicative language teaching is CLT. And before video, I have even explained about CLT, and I think in the current teaching methodology in the grammar, I think so. Teaching grammar but using CLT. Yes, maybe you can check it out in before video. Okay, yes. Communicative approach in orientation in language teaching and learning based on communicative tasks and function. The key principles of the communicative approach are focus on the component, and then designed to engage learning in the use of the language, and then fluency and accuracy are seen as complementary, and then the students are given opportunity to focus on their own learning, and the last is the teacher as facilitator and guide for the student. Wow, the complex, right? Next, and the manual, several aspects must be considered related to CLT theory language and the theory learning, syllabus, type, activity, teacher role, and student role, and then of material. It is the line of the from the CLT. Okay, and the number 2 and the kind of the classroom communicative learning. The tasks are the various classification and of activity are typically found in communicative language classroom from the Richard 2006. Number 1 is task complementation activities and jigsaw, information gap activities, information gathering activities, opinion sharing activities, and then information transfer activities. Maybe in Indonesia, familiar with jigsaw, I think. Yes, in about jigsaw. Next. And next, reasoning gap activities, and then role play. But teacher and the student have important role to solve some the problem to either the student that the activity involves maybe in the classroom speaking activity, and or the staff that the teacher should consider what he or she might do in the classroom in order to overcome each of the problem in the speaking. So the classroom activity such as a group maybe or individual maybe, and improve independent and so on. Okay, and the number 3 is about the goal of communicative language teaching. The number 1 is the knowing how to use language for range and different purpose and function. The number 2 is knowing how to vary our use of language according to the setting and the participant, and the formal on informal speech, or when they use language opportunity for writing and so on. The number 3 is the knowing how to produce understanding difference, the type of the text, the narrative, report, interview, and conversation. And the last goal is the knowing how to mention communication despite having implementation on language and knowledge using different kind of communicative strategies. Wow, so good job. Okay, next. And number four is how learn to learn. How learn to learn. How learn to learn language. And it's therefore, but this is the simple the explanation, right? This is okay, and interaction between the learner and use of the language, and then the next is creating meaningful and purposeful in the stroke language, and then learning through attending to the feedback learners get when the use of language. Oh my god, sorry. The next, collaborative creation of the meaning and the negotiation of the meaning as the learner and his or interaction arrive at understanding. And the last is paying attention to the language one heard the input and trying to incorporate new from into one developing communicative competence. Okay, in the how learning the teacher, and this is the about communicative language teaching. This always has the special, there is characteristic, and there is goals, and there is the meaning of the communicative teaching. So the other this item like this goal and maybe in the rule and the characteristic, yes, at least we should know how to implementation this. Okay, next, the role of the teacher and learner in the classroom. The type of the classroom activities purpose in CLT, communicative language teaching, implied new role in the classroom for the teacher and the learner. The learner who had to participate in the classroom activities, they were based on cooperative rather than individualistic approach to learner. The student had to become comfortable with listening to their peer in group work tasks rather than relying on the teacher for a model. They were expected to take and the greater degree of responsibility for their own learning. And the teacher now had assume the role of facilitator and monitor. So, in CLT, communication learner teaching, this is important as the role model and some more, so we know how to use and CLT, because and English teaching is double language, so we should know the communicative language teaching. Okay, the number 6 is classroom activities in communicative language teaching. Classroom activities like activities we implementation about the CLT in the English teaching, in the English lesson, so and special from classroom activities in communicative language teaching. Classroom activities in communicative language teaching. Next. Wow, it is narrow too about the accuracy and fluency activities. And the number 1 is activities focusing on fluency. As there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the number 1 is reflect natural use of language, and then focus on achieving communication. And the next is require meaningful use of language, and then require the use communicative strategies, and then produce language that might not be predictable, and the last is settling language used to context. This is activities focusing on fluency, right? Focusing on fluency. And the next is activities focusing on accuracy. This accuracy is reflect classroom of the language and the focus of the formation correct example of the language, and then practice language out of the context, and then do not require meaningful communication, and the last is choice of language is control. So fluency is about knowledge. We should remembering, we should understanding about knowledge of the lesson in every chapter, but in the accuracy, we should know on how to product choice of language control is emotional and mental. This is accuracy and fluency in activities. Okay, example of the activities and the according to CLT communicative language teaching is jigsaw. And before explanation, I say it about the jigsaw activities. Do you know what the meaning of jigsaw activities? Jigsaw activities is there are all based on information. The principle typically the class is divided into group and each group has part of information needed to complete an activities. The class must fit the pace of the complete the whole. In so doing, they meaningful community must use their language resource to communicate meaningfully and so take part in meaningful communicative practice. So jigsaw informasi gap principle. Okay, thank you very much. This is about communicative language teaching. It is we become in the language teacher and we study about this. So don't forget, if the English language, yes, there are so many components and there are so many language, and at least we know how to produce and how to teaching and how to use the strategy to student and the classroom and so more. So any CLT is important, the basic of the strategy if you want to teaching English language. So don't forget and like and subscribe in my YouTube channel. So thank you very much. The last for me. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. See ya.